thanks very much for bringing this forward, and I'm very glad to see this because being a senator from Saskatchewan, I wanted to see both Saskatchewan and Alberta, which is so key in the oil industry, have the ability for us to hear from them face to face in those two provinces. So I'm very glad that the committee has reconsidered and decided to add locations in both of those provinces, given the subject matter, because that's where the oil comes from that goes on those tankers dealing with this bill. I just had one question, and I'm not sure, Senator Verner, if you're able to answer this for me, because it might have been dealt with at the Transport Committee level as opposed to coming to you, but I'm wondering if you have any information. I'd understood at one point that Estevan, Saskatchewan, was also potentially going to be a location that would be traveled to as well, because it's just a 2-hour drive from Regina, and it's known as the Energy City. It's kind of oil town in Saskatchewan, a bit of a microcosm of Calgary. I've actually made statements about that particular location before. I lived there for a few years when I first started practicing law, and it's a small city that's been hit very hard by the oil industry downturn, and I thought it would have been a perfect place to kind of provide an illustration and also to hear from people that may not have otherwise been able to be heard from. I wondered if you had any information about that.
Dans la demande qui nous a été soumise, il n'y avait pas de... cette visite-là n'a pas été...
In the request that was received, it wasn't included in the official budget. Perhaps if around the table there are people sitting on the Transport Committee could say whether this discussion had taken place in committee, as long as it was not in camera, of course, but if at the time that we received the request, according to the official documents, there was no question of that visit there.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of comments. Let me first say I very much support the motion. I think it is imperative, as Senator Batters has already said, that we visit the areas that are most impacted by this horrific bill. And that is indeed Alberta and Saskatchewan. I'm on Transport Committee. Very typically, by the time a trip goes ahead, not all senators go, and so there are typically savings there. I think we need to, well, as a matter of fact, I know we need to always include the entire committee because everybody has the right to go. And then as we get closer, typically not entire committees go, so there are savings. And certainly, as Senator Verne has said, it's impossible to buy excursion ticket, if you will, that is non-refundable because we do all have other schedules, and that could very easily cost us more money and have completely wasted money. So I very much support the way we're doing it. I do want to make a comment very briefly, and I don't want to get into a huge debate here because we had that at Transport, and I don't, and that was at least in the evening when we were done with our meetings after the debate, and we don't want to start our day off the same way that one ended off. But there was a lot of discussion around Estevan. As a matter of fact, we were led to believe at one point that steering had agreed that we would go to Estevan. And I guess that wasn't agreed to as ironcladly as what we thought. And there was a motion made at the Transport Committee, and it was in public, so I think I can't speak about it, that we go to Regina and Edmonton only. There was a lot of debate around why not go to Estevan, and there were comments like, well, Estevan is only 2 hours away, so the people from Estevan can come to Regina. And my argument, of course, was that it was the same 2 hours for the committee to travel from Regina to Estevan as the fine folks of Estevan traveling to Regina. So that, to me, was not a very valid argument. There was a decision made that that if there was a lot of people from Estevan that wanted to testify, then we would increase our hearings in Regina by a half a day or a day to accommodate those people. And the fact of the matter is that may be sufficient. I don't think we need to be in a town just for the sake of being in a town if there isn't a specific reason. I personally felt that there was. The majority felt that there wasn't, and so there will be time allotted if there are enough witnesses to from Estevan that want to go. The time in Regina will be extended. Again, like I say, I was not supportive of that idea, but the majority were, and so at least we did compromise to that extent that they will be given a fair chance to come to Regina and testify there.